Hey, what up, y'all? I'm GUAPO Jim. Today we're going to be talking about Invincible, the new season, and what I think of it so far. Before I talk about Invincible, this is a super new channel. Mandem is still on the come up, so if you like this video, I'm going to need you to like this video, comment, subscribe, share, the whole deal. It's me, bro. It's the 5-star general. I'm telling you, bro, just do this. Like, everybody will rate you, they'll respect you. All support is super appreciated. That out of the way, let's begin. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm assuming that you do know if you're watching this video, but on the small chance that you don't know, Invincible is a 2021 animated cartoon that's based on a comic book character of the same name. Kind of an interesting side note, but Robert Kirkman, who's one of the co-creators of the comic, is actually a very big deal, both in comics and in entertainment as a whole. He actually helped co-create massive classics like the Walking Dead franchise, as well as doing some writing for Marvel as well, the Marvel Zombies storyline in particular.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Basically, Invincible is a coming-of-age story about this youth, Mark Grayson, who realizes that his father is not only the greatest superhero on the planet, but also a potential alien dictator in disguise. So, after becoming a superhero himself, Invincible, Mark and his dad, they have this massive fight, and bare people die. Like, thousands upon thousands of people die. The whole sequence of events was absolutely ridiculous. That's pretty much like a synopsis of season 1. Obviously, there are other things that happen, but that's pretty much like a big picture story of what happened. So season 2 picks up a few months after that big fight, and it deals with all of the ramifications of Nolan's actions at the end of season 1. Nolan being Omni-Man, the superhero, and Mark's dad. Before I really go in and talk about season 2, I must give a massive shout out to Seth Rogen. I grew up at the height of the raunchy teen comedy era, so like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Zack and Miri Make a Porn, Superbad, the list goes on. I'm saying all of this to say that if you had told me back then that one of the TV shows that I would be the most hype about would be a Seth Rogen superhero cartoon, I probably would have looked at you dead ass and told you to stop tumping off so many blunts. But it's 2023 and here we are. Truly, what a time to be alive. The action scenes in this show, without question, they go in. Like, they're absolutely incredible. Even just the flight scenes with Mark, Nolan, whoever's flying, like they're really well done. As I mentioned before, this is a Seth Rogen show, so obviously there's going to be comedic moments. More often than not, though, I do find that this show manages to strike that right balance of comedy, and whether it's drama or thriller, like whatever it's supposed to be, it does hit that. I'd be lying if I said that I laughed at every single joke, but again, it's Seth Rogen, so obviously they're gonna drop some funny lines here or there. The voice acting and production quality as a whole is absolutely phenomenal. I really love that they make each episode 45 minutes long. In a weird way, it kind of feels like you're getting your value's worth. And that end theme by John Pisano,
My nigga.
that shit is too fire. I'm not gonna lie, even Amber this season, like as a whole, I appreciated her way more this season than I did in the last season. Last season, I found her super annoying, and this season, I found her a lot more understanding, I guess, which is funny to say that because it's like this is a fictional character that I'm talking about, but it's just a testament to the work that these guys have done. Now, for my gripes. The pacing in this show feels really weird. Like, I find that a lot of things just kind of happen super fast. I have this thing when it comes to TV shows and filler episodes. Remember before how I said that I loved how long each episode was? I find that can be kind of a blessing and a curse, simply because now Seth Rogen and his writing team, they have to fill up 45 minutes worth of content instead of 23. So in those situations, I find that you end up with a whole bunch of filler stuff, a lot of things kind of happening, a lot of people mentioned, and things just not really going anywhere. This filler stuff, it is necessary, but not really. I hope I elaborated that correctly. Another big gripe that I have, and this is more of like a first world problem thing, but the whole breaking the season into multiple parts, lose me with that shit, bro. All of you streaming companies and services, you guys really need to quit that. The whole point of the streaming model, at least to me, is to encourage binge watching, and I can't binge something if I can only watch it one episode at a time. That's kind of what made these companies like Netflix and Prime, Apple, again, all of these streaming companies, what made them so cool is the fact that you can watch a whole bunch of a show at once, and now you're giving it back to me episodic again, which is just like these networks. I get that there's obviously like a production reason of why they split it up, but as a fan of the show, I'm not impressed, and I would be way happier even if it took longer to come out if I was able to watch the whole season at once instead of the breakup and watching every episode 1 week at a time. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the biggest Invincible fan, like in terms of the comic books, but I do know the story, and I know the main beats, and I know the things that are supposed to happen. I'm so much of a nerd, I even remember the time that he went to the Marvel Universe and he was chopping it up with Spider-Man and the Avengers. So I will say that the few Easter eggs that they've thrown into the show from the comic books, I was super excited to see, and I'm hype about the promise of things to come. In terms of characters, I feel like we've introduced way too many characters this season, and then they never get talked about again. As I said before, I am somewhat of a fan of the Invincible universe, so I was really hyped when I heard that they were gonna mention and have Angstrom Levy and Bulletproof in the show, but both characters have really not been talked about or even mentioned, especially in Bulletproof's case. I know that the season is still ongoing, but I really do hope that they talk about those characters more in future episodes. Even Monster Girl and Robot, that whole romance, I can't with those two, man. I don't know, I can't. I found Robot a lot cooler of a character when he was actually a robot and not just this clone boy. Super side note, but Monster Girl always reminds me of Monster by Mistake. Comment down below if you guys are old enough to remember Monster by Mistake. If you know, you know. As for the rest of the Global Guardians, I really don't care for them as much. I feel like the only real cool character out of them is Immortal, but again, they never really talk about him, so we never really get to know who he is. I do like Adam Eve. I like her character and her powers, but I find her both weirdly overpowered and underpowered at the same time. Characters that have molecular control abilities, kind of like Firestorm or Molecule Man, this always tends to happen to them, so I'm not super surprised that it's happening to Adam Eve. Alan the Alien, his little part, I did enjoy him, and being a fan of the comic book, I'm excited about, his character and what that entails. It does sound really weird to say this, but even with all of his faults, Omni-Man is probably my favorite character in this show. J.K. Simmons is doing a masterclass of how to make an immensely strong, godlike character feel both vulnerable and human at the same time, and I gotta give him his kudos. But as a whole, I do think everybody in that regard, everybody is killing it. One thing, and it sounds weird to say this, I'm gonna hear it in the comment section, I know, but we really do need to talk about the gratuitous gore in this show. If you guys watch these videos, you know that I love a great fight scene, like really. But with this show, I do find the gore to be a bit heavy-handed sometimes. Yes, I know that they're being true to the source material, but to me at least, it kind of loses its cool seeing somebody get eviscerated every single episode. The first few times was sick, but it does get hella repetitive after a while. In the context of the world, again, it makes sense that people would be maimed considering the strength levels of these characters, but sometimes this shit is just too much, man. Again, that's me though. I'm a bitch. I've said that before, but yeah. If you're a fan of shows about young men discovering their heroic legacies, Fandom 2040 would be right up your alley. I actually made a video about that show, and I've left the link in the description down below. As with the first season, the second season of this show is a massive hit, and everyone and their mother is singing the praises of this show. From a production standpoint, the final 4 episodes of season 2 are going to be out early next year, and the show's actually already been greenlit for a 3rd season. There's even news of a live action Invincible movie happening, but right now the cartoon is completely fine for me. If you ever want to check out the show yourself, like in the off chance that you're not watching it already, you can find it today on Amazon Prime Video. Overall, Invincible, it's not perfect, okay? Nothing's perfect, but it really is a damn great show. Like a damn great show. In my honest and completely unbiased opinion, this show is very much worth watching, and I cannot wait to watch the second part of the season so I can review the season as a whole. I just wanted to let you guys know what the streets have been telling me about this show, and I wanted to give you guys the GUAPO review. Thank you if you've made it this far. If you're a fan of this type of content, I'm gonna need you to like, subscribe, comment down below on what other shows you guys think that I should be reviewing and checking out. Stay safe. Later days.